back up to speed.
The remaining stages on day one of the 2010 Volkswagen Rally are both tarmac stages, and with no servicing in between them, they form a quick 1-2 tarmac end to day one. The first of these two stages is known as Winterhoek and is a 3.5 kilometers short affair up, over and under flyover on the highway near Uitenhage. Directly after stage 5, the rally moves to the well-known Aldous Scribanti racing circuit, east of the city of Port Elizabeth. Each car will complete 5 laps around the circuit underneath the recently installed street lamps. This adds up to a stage length of 11.8 kilometers, which is still not a very long stage, but a lot can happen in the dark, especially if you're driving flat out on rally tyres that should have seen the bin many kilometers ago.
Racing on tarmac usually nets close results, and the same is true even in rally cars, racing on well-worn rally tyres. At the very short point and squirt stage of Winterhoek, the top 10 cars finished within 6 seconds of one another, with the time between the fastest S2000 car and the slowest one differing by only 12 seconds. Most of the front runners held their positions, with only 2 notable exceptions. The first was Jan Habig, who posted the second fastest time on the stage. This allowed him to pass Conrad Rautenbach for 4th overall, adding insult to injury for the young privateer. The second exception was Charles Wilken in his Basil Reed Bizarre Fiesta. The former national track champion showed that old habits die hard by charging through the short stage a full second faster than anyone else. This meant he gained enough time over the Perty car of Visser du Plessis and Gerard Snyman to pass them for 7th place overall.
200, keep right.
After some mishaps further down the field, Leroy Polte continued his domination in Class A6, while the Claessens enjoyed their position as the Stolzewabi Class N4 car in the event. Abdul Rahman Amle and Yusuf Hanif and their Toyota Ranix RSI was still leading Class N3, but the young Stefanie Hugo with Dad Willem next to her was lurking in the wings. Ashley Haig Smith was still in a class of its own amongst the remaining Class A5 drivers and leading comfortably. By the time the crews reached the final stage of the day, the sun had firmly set over Port Elizabeth. The organisers, however, had specified that no rally lights were to be employed during the last stage, as there was area illumination in the form of street lamps all over the Aldous Scribanti circuit. Enzo Key may have misunderstood the instructions as he launched his BP Ultimate Volkswagen Polo onto the track with no lights whatsoever. He later explained that he has extraordinary night vision due to a rare form of color blindness, and driving without lights kept the contrast low, helping him to find his way around the winding circuit. It seemed to have paid off too, as Keane posted the second fastest time on stage 6, just over 3 seconds slower than the time posted by Charles Wilken, who took his second stage victory of the day in the Basil Reed Bizarre Fiesta. Wilken's track abilities was clear to see as he drove considerably different lines through most of the corners. His rally colleagues simply lacked the on-track experience that Wilken had gained through his many years as a professional racing driver in a myriad of classes. In the end, Wilken made up significant time over his rivals, though it wasn't quite enough to shift positions on the leaderboard. The only real movers were Mark Ronier and the Cashel Toyota Auris, who passed Conrad Rautenbach for 5th, and the Namibian Jaco van Dijk in his Volkswagen Polo, who slid past Visser du Plessis and Gerard Snyman for 8th. Nicholas Ryan also posted a time that was good enough to see him make an appearance into the top 10 on the overall leaderboard.
As day one of the 2010 Volkswagen Rally drew to a close, the crews headed back to the city to park their cars for the night. Sitting pretty at the top of the log was Johnny Gemmell and Drew Sturrock in their Castrol Toyota Auris. But their lead was down to a rather slender 5 seconds over Volkswagen's Enzo Kuhn, who seemed hell-bent on scoring a victory for Volkswagen at their home event. Day one is history. All that remains is one more day of flat-out rallying on almost exactly the same stages as day one. Longmore will come into play yet again and may very well prove to be the undoing of all the hard work that the crews put into day one. The action picks up just where it left off. Volkswagen Rally dawns bright and clear as the friendly city prepares for the spectacular battle that lies ahead. Many things can and will happen before the crews finally return to the Kings Beach parking lot. Johnny Gemmell is upbeat about his prospects at this point, and with good reason too, though he's also quick to point out that Kuhn's performance on day one was exceptional, especially given the VW driver's road position.
The plan's we're gonna have to go. Enzo was going quite well yesterday, being first on the road.
Kuhn has his sights on the crown though, and is desperate to bag a win for Volkswagen at their home event.
I think it's war today against Johnny Gemmell and Toyota. It's going to be a tough day. We have to go hard. It's a Volkswagen Rally. That's what we're here for.
But driving at this level sometimes requires taking risks. And if you're the man or woman in the navigator's seat, you really have to trust your driver. Most of the time, this trust is just part of the job. But according to Enzo, navigator Guy Hodgson had a couple of rather tense moments on day one, where he may even have let out a bit of a whimper.
Oh, rubbish. Just wait till I see him. Miserable shits.
The man in third place is still Heinrich Lateghan in his privately entered Pertec Toyota Auris. Lateghan and navigator Johan van der Merwe have really taken the fight to the front runners and shown the works teams what they're capable of. But his spectacular crash at the last event still haunts Lateghan.
I think today we'll think about the roll still. I mean, try not to get, too over-eager and make sure that we stay on the road and just focus and keep on having good times.
With a new day comes new opportunity for Zimbabweans Conrad Rotenbach and Peter Marsh in their S2000 Ford Fiesta. The two started the rally with an emphatic victory in Stage 1, but went off the boil after an incident in Stage 2. But there can be no doubt that they have the pace to catch the leaders and even overtake them.
Yeah, we started quite well, maybe a bit too well, and then we went off, and we lost the confidence there, and it just battled to get it back throughout the day.
Stage 7 is a repeat of the 19-kilometre long Culturama, which leads right into the middle of Longmoor Forest. With the entire field having completed this stage twice already, the surface has been scrubbed of any loose rocks and stones. The times should be significantly faster than on day one.
First to launch himself and his navigator into Stage 7 is Johnny Gemmell in the works Castrol Toyota Auris. With the extra grip, Gemmell has reason to expect a time that will be significantly faster than the first time through the stage, and he beats his own time from the previous day by a full 9 seconds. At 10 minutes and 43.1 seconds, however, Gemmell only manages the 4th fastest time on this stage, putting himself under even greater pressure.
Yeah, that was a nice stage then, pretty fast. The grip is much better this time around, so it is faster. Just have to see how the guys behind us are going.
Next on the road is Enzo Kuhn and Guy Hodgson in the first of the 2 remaining BP Ultimate Volkswagen Polos. His time of 10 minutes and 48.1 seconds is a full 13 seconds quicker than the previous day's time, but only good enough for 5th on this stage.
Well, Gemmell had a really good stage, I must say. I was seeing his marks, he was trying hard, and it's a good stage for him. We lost a bit of time now.
Hein Lateghan continues his stunning campaign by posting the 4th fastest time on Stage 7, which should by all accounts have been enough to keep his 3rd spot on the overall leaderboard. But Volkswagen's Jan Habig seems to have woken up on the right side of the bed and sets a blistering time of 10 minutes and 39.1 seconds. This catapults him into 2nd overall, pushing Lateghan down to 4th in the process.
Okay, slow down. Well done.
Mark Ronier in the 2nd works Castrol Toyota Auris seems to have finally strung it all together on this stage, posting the 3rd fastest time.
Roads are nice and clean and swept, so what can I say? There's a lot of traction out there, and I didn't expect it to be as good as that.
But the big question is if Zimbabwean privateer Conrad Rotenbach will have overcome his scare from the previous day and again post a time similar to the blistering one of the day before. As the finish approaches, it is immediately clear that the Ford Fiesta driver is even faster than yesterday, by 8 seconds to be exact, but also 6 seconds clear of anyone else on Stage 7.
Start.
I was a little bit untidy through there. I was trying a bit too much, so I've just got to calm down and get a good rhythm.
Gemmell remains in the number 1 position after Culturama, with Jan Habig pinching 2nd place from teammate Enzo Kuhn. Hein Lateghan drops down 1 spot while Mark Ronier gives way and Conrad Rotenbach starts making ground on the leaders.
As on the previous day, Culturama is followed immediately by King's View, without the benefit of service in between. This is the last time that King's View will be used on the 2010 Volkswagen Rally and may prove instrumental in determining the eventual winner of the event. It is critical for Johnny Gemmell to find that elusive balance between speed and safety if he wants to remain at the top of the leaderboard. With the chasing pack right at his heels, the Toyota driver can't afford even the smallest mistake. In the end, he makes it through Kingsview unscathed for the 2nd time with a time of 14 minutes 41.2 seconds. Good enough to put him 3rd on the stage and leave him at the top of the leaderboard. Enzo Keen and the Volkswagen has the job of chasing down Gemmel, but to Keen the chase is as much about the championship as the Volkswagen Rally itself. Throwing caution to the wind may bring him victory, but it may also end with 0 points scored from his team's home event, and more importantly, a severe blow to his championship. But the Wiley Works driver knows a thing or two about finding the balance and manages the second fastest time on the stage, bipping Gemmel by just under 2 seconds. Due next to arrive at the end of the stage is Hein Latergan in the Pertic Toyota Auris, but the plucky privateer fails to arrive. He had hit a bank mid-stage and severely sprained his hand when it was caught in the spinning steering wheel. This retirement leaves a gap in the 4th spot on the overall table, which means that the entire field is promoted by 1 position. But making up more than just 1 position in stage 8 is Conrad Rautenbach and Peter Marsh in their Ford Fiesta S2000. Rautenbach had clearly shaken the gremlins that had hounded his head since the previous day and posted his second successive stage win with a stunning time of 14 minutes and 26.5 seconds, 13 seconds quicker than the second fastest time set by Keen.
And long, slight tightens in.
Rautenbach's unbelievable time vaults him up 3 places into the 2nd spot, just 7 seconds behind Toyota's Johnny Gemmel. Kuhn holds station while Habich tumbles 2 spots into 4th position. By the time the crews make it to service after stage 8, their cars are in dire need of new tyres. New boots are fitted, minor repairs are carried out, and then it's back to the grindstone for the last 2 serious stages, including 1 final blast through the forest of Longmoor. For Johnny Gemmel, the rally was unfolding in exactly the way he had hoped. First on the leaderboard is undeniably the place to be, and with just 2 more gravel stages to go, he had reason to feel confident.
I know he's flying. On that first one, I think he took 10 or 15 from us and everybody else, and the last one also. And apparently he slowed down in Mark's dust as well, so it's going to be tough.
But Enzo Kuhn was still very much part of this fight and knew that he would have to dig deep in order to beat Gemmel to the line.
The goal is definitely a win and obviously protecting our championship status. We're having a big fight with Johnny, and it's very tight at the front there.
Having found the pace he lost on day 1, Conrad Rautenbach was now again a serious threat to the 2 Works drivers, especially since the Ford was closing in on them at a ridiculous rate on each stage. The big question was, did Rautenbach have what it would take to take the overall lead of the rally on the final forest stage?
No, the feeling with the car is really good. It's feeling good, so, and we're trying hard. So it's still a couple of stages to go, so we'll see what can happen.
Into the breach once more goes Johnny Gemmel and Drew Starrock in their Works Toyota Auris, facing the forest for the last time on this event. By now, the stage known as Sinkdam has become familiar territory, as it is the reverse of stage 7 and an exact repeat of stage 3 from the day before. Gemmel makes it through the stage in a time of 10 minutes and 47.6 seconds, again good enough to fend off the Wolves from Wolfsburg. Keen storms through next, very much aware of the fact that time and distance are both running out. He needs to make a move if he wants to win, and make it fast. But in order to make any inroads on Gemmel, he really needs to blow the Toyota out of the water. Keen pushes for all he's worth, but only just manages to match the time set by his adversary.
Big push there in the stage, but I see Johnny tried hard and it's got the same time. So.
Jan Habich and Ralph Pitchford, now on fresh tyres, take on Sinkdam next and blast through in a time of 10 minutes and 43 seconds, a full 4 seconds faster than Gemmel and fast enough to win the stage. The highly experienced Habich also moves up to 3rd overall thanks to this time, but in fairness, he was assisted by Lady Luck. That's because Conrad Rautenbach and Peter Marsh, who had such high hopes for this stage, ran into trouble.
Long, backs right. We've got a puncture again.
They hit a rock and suffered a puncture which not only cost them at least 20 seconds, but effectively dashed all their hopes of making it to the top step of the podium.
11, 8Ks.
Their bad luck dropped them down 2 places on the leaderboard and added insult to injury by forcing them to fit the spare before heading off to the PE Oval for the final gravel stage.
Gemmel remains the king of the hill, with Enzo Kuhn taking aim at the top spot thanks to some good stage times. Habich moves into 3rd while Rautenbach tumbles to 4th. Further down the field, Mark Ronnier in the 2nd Castrol Toyota Auris overtakes Nicholas Ryan's Volkswagen Polo for 8th place overall. Stage 10 is the last full-size stage of the 2010 Volkswagen Rally, with just the 1.3-kilometre tarmac sprint in PE to follow. This final gravel stage is an exact repeat of stage 4 from day 1 and offers the very last real opportunity to make up time.